Colorado had one of the epic choke jobs you'll ever see on any football field anywhere, high school, college, NFL, Pop Warner, gagging away a 29-point lead against a bad Stanford team over the weekend. Well, Deion Sanders is ruffling some feathers even after that performance. You'd think, well, that would pretty much end the magic carpet ride for Deion Sanders. Well, no. If you didn't see this, this created a hullabaloo. And anytime there's a hullabaloo, I hear this sound. Just like that. That's my hullabaloo sounder. Not everyone has it. It's like a dog whistle. It catches my attention. So here's the story. If you didn't see this, the Pac-12 announced that the kickoff times for the October 28th slate of games, Colorado, which is 4-3, will be playing UCLA, who was smoked by the Beavers of Oregon State over the weekend, in prime time. That'll be on ABC, while 6-0 Washington, that just defeated Oregon in a thriller in the Pacific Northwest, the Washington Huskies, despite being ranked inside the top 5 and beating the Quack Attack, will play on FS1. Now, there's nothing wrong with playing on FS1, but in the television totem pole, A, B, C, see, that's at the top. And people are upset, and they're annoyed. They feel like Deion Sanders and the Colorado hype are getting preferential treatment over a legitimately good team in Washington that backed up that talk in a measuring stick game against Oregon. So let us discuss the question, how do you dissect Colorado's Buffaloes getting a primetime slot over a top 5 Washington team? How do you dissect it? So I've got Tiddlywinks, Booster Seat, and Slick Lizard. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice nap, which I'll probably be having. Instead of watching the Colorado-UCLA game, I'll take a nice nap. All right, so first of all, this is not brain surgery. It's just talk radio. It's not brain surgery. But this story is pretty simple. So I'd like to take you into my courtroom. And here's how I broke this down. The law of MALLER. So Washington football is wonderful, right? They're wonderful. They got a nice win over a good Oregon team over the weekend. I was watching that game in a sports book in Vegas. They got a shot to win the national title. Not a big-time shot because they're in the Pac-12, and we know how that goes when the Pac-12 plays teams from the Southeastern Conference and whatnot. But mathematically, they're in position to be in a national championship playoff situation, the Washington Huskies. And that's great. They have one of the favorites, if not the betting favorite, to win the Heisman Trophy after Caleb Williams fell off the map against Notre Dame. And that would be Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback there, who's the Heisman favorite on some of the offshore books. And so he's been wonderful. All of that is true. Washington's legit. They're too legit to quit. They've got a Heisman-level quarterback. And even so, side by side, Washington does not move the needle. Like Colorado, you look at Colorado, and they've lost a few games now. The afterglow is not the same for Deion Sanders.
They suck.
They got just charbroiled by the Oregon Ducks earlier this year. They blew the 29-point lead to Stanford. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on. But when everything is said and done, we know that more is said than done. But ultimately, and this is the thing that people who are purists of college football cannot wrap their head around. And I don't know why, because it's been this way for at least 2 generations. It's a TV show, dummy. It's a TV show. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter. It's not about the purity of football. It's not about any of that. It's not about who's actually better at playing football. It doesn't matter. All right, Colorado brings what? And this is always the question you have. Who can bring the most eyeballs to the schoolyard? And in the case of Deion Sanders in Colorado, Deion Sanders could go play tiddlywinks and wear sunglasses and get more people to watch. He'd get a 10 share. And the Washington football team could play a great game against a good opponent, win the game in dramatic fashion, and still not have as much juice. It's all about the juice. And they just don't have enough, right? And it's not a charity situation. It's semi-professional football. The players are getting paid now. Coaches are making tons of money. Everyone's getting paid. And that money, much of that money, it siphons through the television broadcast. And so that's how it works. College football is run by the TV overlords. They're the ones that are puppet masters, and money makes the world go round and 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 round. And so where the Buffalo roam, go the ratings. This job is not that difficult. It's not. All right, now secondly, we stay in college football. We go to the Urban Revival story we talked about a couple weeks ago, which actually originated with our friend Bernie Fratto of Fox Sports Radio. Bernie had a source. He's an old Michigan guy, and he had a source that said some boosters at Michigan State are attempting to convince the school to hire Urban Meyer as their next head coach. And so that's where the story was. And, of course, a bunch of people that are up the tuchus of Urban Meyer said that's not true and all that. So former Ohio State coach Urban Meyer was interviewed and asked about the possibility of coaching at Michigan State or taking another big-time job. Urban Meyer asked about possibility of going to Sparty and being there. Urban Meyer said, quote, he has no desire to get back into coaching. The statement was made amid all of the speculation that Urban would go back to a big-time job. Now, he said, I am good. I never really took a day off. Urban Meyer said, people, when I say that, they scratch their head. I am like, I never took a day off. I had some health stuff go on. I became addicted to sleeping pills. Urban Meyer said, I was just a maniac worker. So no desire, close quote. So how believable is Urban Meyer when he says he has, quote, no desire to get back into coaching? All right, so here's the problem. He's a coach, and as long as you're a coach, you're a liar. If you believe a coach, you're a sucker, right? They're no different than politicians. Never believe a politician, never believe a lawyer, and never, ever, ever believe a coach. They will lie right to your face, and that's Urban Meyer. I don't believe him. I don't buy it. And there's many reasons to think that Urban is just going to hang out on television, squatting until the right job opens up. And when that right job opens up, Urban will get on a private plane and fly to Destination X and resume his coaching. And he'll say, I didn't want to coach again. I never thought I was going to coach again. But here I am. I got my desire back because of X, Y, and Z. So I don't believe Urban, and yeah, he's hiding out on TV. Good for him. Urban Meyer! Urban Meyer! Urban Meyer! Urban Meyer! But he's got at least one more circus left in him. You don't want to go out the way he went out in Jacksonville. The only thing Urban Meyer did well at Jacksonville was his own version of the Tushy Pushy. When he was at that bar in Ohio, right? That's it. I mean, I don't know anything else he did well when he was coaching Jacksonville. Made me look like a complete jackass because I thought he would actually do a halfway decent job. So you don't want to go out like that. It was a horror show. And ultimately, Urban Meyer is the perfect booster seat. When I say booster seat, I mean boosters salivating. They're the ones that run the coaching gigs in college football. TV is the most important thing. They're the overlords. But the big-time boosters, and every major player in college football has them, they're the ones that decide who gets hired and who doesn't get hired when it comes to becoming a head coach. And you look around. I agree. I think Bernie's onto something with Michigan State. As long as that job's open, you got to think Urban Meyer's a possibility. And then the other jobs that you would say Urban would be a possibility for, The Auburn job. Auburn, yet again, not so good. You think Urban Meyer, they've had some moral dilemmas at Auburn as they continue to chase behind the elephants of Tuscaloosa. And so you could see that as a possibility. And I would throw as a wild card out because they thought they had their forever coach, and it didn't quite work out, they being Texas A&M with Jimbo. And that's a hot mess. So that's a good job. It's a Southeastern Conference gig. Texas A&M, big boosters, big Texas money. I could see that happen. But those are the top three. There's other options, but those are the ones that stand out the most. All right, final thought. We pivot now to Central Command. We go to Central Command, NFL style. Say what? Now, we failed to mention this the other night, but NBC Sunday Night Football, they showed the officiating headquarters of the NFL. You know, they always say, well, we're going to go to New York. Let's find out what they're looking at the replay center. And I don't know about you, but in my head, the replay center was this majestic place that is magical with like ivory towers and just so powerful. It just oozes of big-time NFL money. So then they showed the officiating headquarters in New York, the centralized officiating headquarters, the command center of the NFL during the Giants-Bills game. So tell me your initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts on the NFL's officiating command center now that we've actually seen behind the curtain? We've gone into the sausage factory to see how they make the sausage. It's a reminder, you're never supposed to know how they make the sausage. This is embarrassing, right? The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate. They control billions and billions of dollars under the guise of being a sports league. And I looked at this and I thought somewhere in Slick Lizard, Alabama, at a small store in the back room, there is a security setup with Jim Bob and Bubba that have better technology and look more professional than the NFL.
Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, it looks like the league used a conference room at the Park Avenue headquarters in New York City. And they just brought in some TVs. They rolled in some TVs. They had some desk chairs there. Everything was disheveled. The people were dressed casual. They looked a little disheveled themselves. It was like a slumber party. And that's the NFL? These are the people? I mean, it was like everything was wired together like spaghetti. It's a spaghetti time. I mean, what are you doing? That's so embarrassing. Man, who gave the green light on putting the camera in the central command, ruining the illusion that these people actually invested some money in the NFL and had top-notch facilities and all that? That's funny. That is so. You go to these stadiums, these billion-dollar stadiums, and then you look at the central command of NFL officiating, and it looks like it was put together like somebody went down to Best Buy and bought some cables and some TVs, and they set them up, and I think they got a table off OfferUp or Craigslist or something like that.